And it's only 7 o'clock. I probably shouldn't make that promise that early in the meeting.
I've been waiting to do this for many years.
I deserve that one too, though.
Good evening and welcome everyone to the Wheeling Board of Education, December 15th, 2022 board meeting. If everybody would please rise and join us in the pledge.
Okay.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God,
indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. For anyone that's here from the public that wishes later on in the meeting to address the board, directions are stated on the agenda, and you have 3 minutes to address the board. And we just ask at that point that you do not address anything specific to personnel type of issues. For those of you that do want to fill out a form, you just drop it to Ms. Del Rio over on my right, and she'll pass it on to me at the appropriate time. Getting to that? Thank you, so. Thank you.
He was giving me a minute.
Yes, I'm just giving Stacy a second to get situated. Are we ready now? We're ready now.
Wow.
Board Secretary Jessica, if you could call roll, please.
Thank you. I've been waiting for so long. Phil, are you here?
God, yes.
Okay. Debbie?
Here.
I am here. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Arlen?
Aye.
Bill?
Present.
And Stacy Getz? Yes. Yay, we're all here.
Thank you. And I'm sure the crowd is pleased about that. Okay. First order of business on our agenda outside of the making sure we have a quorum is board communications. I can't start this meeting any other way, but yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of Sandy Hook, in which we had 20 small angels that met their fate and 6 adult ones. It's been amazing over the last 10 years how many mass shootings have occurred, how many have continued to occur in public schools, on site, in buildings. At some point in time, there's got to be the will to mitigate that. Later on this evening under board discussion, we're going to be talking about an issue somewhat related to that. But I know all of those in the dealing in public education, it's a time to reflect this week, especially yesterday, on that occurrence and unfortunate similar ones that have happened in the last 10 years as well. With that, thank you for your indulgence. We'll move on to board communications. NSSEO, Deborah?
Oh, thank you, Phil. Don't have a real lot this month. Right now, our big thing is that we're working on our superintendent search. And every one of the representatives did meet virtually with the search firm. And as of our meeting 2 weeks ago now, we already had 4 full applications for the position. So things are looking, they're expecting a lot of applications for a very specialized position. So that's looking good.
When's the deadline?
The end of the month.
And this month, December? Okay. All right. Thank you,
And
Deb.
that's it.
Move on to EdRed and IASB updates. Bill?
Thank you, Phil. The EdRed Legislative Dinner will be held on January 23rd at the Hilton in Northbrook. The keynote speaker will be Kathy Kajegian. Try saying that once fast. President of the National School Public Relations Association. Additionally, there will be opportunities to attend up to 2 breakout sessions on topics such as literacy, First Amendment legal update, construction, reimagining high school, and a pair of legislative roundtables. There will also be some time for networking. Registration information should go out by next week, so let Leticia know if you're interested in attending. On the executive board, one issue we've been watching for the lame duck session is an apparent effort to extend the Invest in Kids Act. For those of you who may not remember what that is, that was passed as part of the education funding reform package to get the governor to sign it, and it allowed for basically private schools to receive public funding. The law, that Invest in Kids law, is supposed to sunset at the end of next year. There is an attempt to extend that, and Ed Red will be opposing that. And I believe, Jessica, you had something to add for the Ed Red update?
Just a quick update, Bill. Thank you. Ed Red hosted a webinar recently with some staff from the Illinois State Police regarding the new clear and present danger form that's available in Illinois. And I wanted to learn more about it. It's a process by which you can request a family member's access to firearms and their FOID card be restricted, excuse me, if their mental state poses a clear and present danger to themselves or others. And I felt it was fairly timely given our discussion on some similar issues. It sounds like it's an interesting process, and we'll be seeing how it plays out in Illinois. Thank you, Bill.
Now on to IASB. The IASB has hired a new Associate Executive Director and Head of the Government Relations Department, Brian Sodi. There remains openings for a Director in the Government Relations Department, as well as the Executive Director's position once Tom Bertrand retires at the end of June. Last month, I had the opportunity to go to the Joint Annual Conference of School Boards, School Superintendents, and School Business Officers, along with the rest of the board and members of the administration. I was able to attend a pre-conference workshop on re-examining the board's role in community engagement that included an interesting discussion about doing a PESTEL analysis when considering issues impacting the district by doing an external scan of local, state, and federal issues that may be affecting the community. I was also able to sit in on a number of roundtables of our legislators discussing what may be coming forth from Springfield in the sessions ahead. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Bill? Okay, Arlen?
Is it? Yeah, it's on. Well, since we met last, you, the board, surprised me with a lovely dinner in honor of my receiving the Buckholz Award from Shelter Inc., which I did receive last month. Thank you for that. It was a delightful evening, as was the award night. I had my whole family there, and it was just an amazing night to be recognized. Secondly, I attended 4 concerts. Bill attended a couple of them as well with me. We went to both Holmes and Cooper. I heard both the band and the orchestra concerts at both schools. And I have to tell you, the job that our music department is doing is just incredible. The number of students involved has grown dramatically. You can see the numbers. The music sound continues to get better. So I wanted to thank our music department for the great job they are doing right now. And I also attended the North Cook holiday party the other night and met all the advocates who North Cook has in our district now. They all raved about the staff, our staff, and how welcoming we have been and how welcoming the buildings are and how supportive we have been. So I wanted to thank all of our team for doing a great job, and it seems like it's working out well in the early stages, and that's a great thing for our board to know. So thank you for all the hard work, Kim, and that of the rest of your team.
Thank you. Stacy, anything to report or share? Okay, Stacy?
Just a real quick, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors meeting yesterday and invited all of them to our ribbon cutting in January. So CAS will get an invitation out to their Board of Directors. Lots of updates as far as new stuff coming to Wheeling, but the trend seems to be we won't be getting any new restaurants that are supposed to open until everybody gets their kitchen equipment that's back ordered on a supply chain issue. So Heaven Sent Barbecue, Use Mandarin, and Popeye's Chicken are all unable to open because they cannot get their kitchen equipment in. And they're looking forward to having both a State of the Village again next year, as well as a Chamber of Commerce luncheon, like new members, like community organizations thing in the beginning of the year, probably March. So other than that, I attended an event with them last night, and they're looking forward to seeing the building and looking to see how we can partner next year.
Great.
That's
thank
it.
you. Any other comments from board members?
Yeah, Phil, one other thing, a number of us, including yourself, attended Wheeling's Taste of Wheeling. That was a delightful evening. about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, a month ago. And we were welcomed by the board members who were there, and it was a nice turnout of crowd to break finally the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. Jess, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to also note I've attended some of the beginning orchestra concerts, including my son's debut, playing the bass at Tarkington. And I have always been impressed with our music program, but actually seeing my son go from 0 to being able to play a few songs, seeing all the kids work together cooperatively who are all beginners, the staff, everything was so seamless. I was so impressed with everything I saw. And I'm really excited to see him and all the other students continue. As Bill noted, I also attended the Joint Conference, which I thought was outstanding this year. Everything from the pre-conference classes that I attended, the vendor hallway thing they have, and then all the classes I took on Saturday, and the speakers I thought were really top-notch this year. Very timely, very engaging, very talented speakers. And I'm grateful that we continue to have the opportunity to go as a full board and experience the conference. So thank you again for that.
Sure, absolutely. Arlen, we did miss you. I know Friday night you had your wonderful award dinner and then a little under the weather after that, but
Yeah,
you were missed.
Thank you.
The only thing I want to add in terms of EdRed is that I did attend a virtual meeting today of their communications committee. And aside from the comments that Bill had shared, we also talked about social media and policies surrounding that at the board level, at the district level. This was just an initial bringing up of that topic. I'm expecting in probably January or February, there'll be much more to be discussed through EdRed as well. And I know we're going to be looking at that as a district also. So that's the only thing I wanted to add on that. And with that, we'll move on to staff communications. Dr. Conley?
Well, good evening, everybody. Have a couple of items that I wanted to update the board on, and then a couple of presentations. So first, I just wanted to inform the board that we have started to make our initial plans for summer school coming up in summer 2023. Our standard summer school program is, of course, our bilingual and ESL programming, as well as our extended school year for our students that have IEPs and those services within their IEPs. And those programs are going to be running July, I'm sorry, what are the dates, Beatrice, do we remember? Yeah. Nothing like putting you on the spot. They will be in July as opposed to June. And we will be housing those programs at Twain and Holmes, correct? Because of building construction and things of that nature, those are going to be the two buildings that are going to be least impacted by the work that the board will hopefully be approving later this evening. So the other thing is that we do a lot of other, or attempt to do a lot of other enrichment programs, STEM programming, interest programming. We are going to continue to try and bring those offerings to the parents, but we do also need to kind of acknowledge that staffing is an issue. And so before we start over-promising and under-delivering, we are going to be going through a process of just kind of gauging interest amongst our current staff to see, what capacity we actually have to be able to offer programming outside of our kind of baseline minimum that we do every summer. So just a quick update on that we have started to start planning already for things happening in the summer. This year, we introduced something a little new, our Seasons Greeting Design Challenge Award contest. And this really was really well received. We had over 100 students that designed holiday cards or concepts for holiday cards and submitted those. And so over the course of about a week, right before Thanksgiving, the staff here at Gill were invited to come and view the submissions and vote and rate. And so we did have a first place and a runner-up card design that we are publishing, and in each grade band from pre-K to 2 to 3 to 5 and 6 to 8. And so you can see kind of a shot of the different designs. And I think we've got a couple of slides. So this is our first place pre-K 2 entry from Sophia G. over at Riley. Our runner-up, Zoe E. in second grade at Twain. For the 3rd through 5th grade, Teonga T. from 5th grade at Frost Elementary. And Juliana A., another 5th grader at Frost, runner-up. And then our middle school, Julianne S., 6th grade over at London. And Saleh W., 7th grade at also at London. And the theme that we tried to provide for students to get some of their inspiration was celebrating our community. And so really trying to just give very just broad, general, kind of ideas of to help guide their thinking. And we just were really, really impressed with the creativity that came in. So all entrants received a thank you and congratulation letter. The cards that we selected to be published, all of those individuals are going to be receiving a couple of cards, that have been published, then also a little note from me. The cards have been produced, and we are currently using them to send out. So over the next week, as we send out our holiday cards as a district, it will be artwork featured by our students. So this is the first time we've done it, and it was great. Looking forward to doing it on an annual basis. And the last thing I have before I turn it over to Michael on our presentation is that got a nice little shout out from Congressman Schneider today that got picked up in the Lake County Gazette. So we had, our district had hundreds of cards for active military service members that through the congressman's office that they were created and dropped off, and those will be distributed to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and Guardians, I think they're called now, right? Space Force. So that are in active service and maybe deployed overseas, or could even be stateside. So specifically, students from Cooper, Field, Longfellow, and Riley produced cards. I also want to note that Kilmer produced Veterans Day cards that they distributed back in November for Veterans Day. So just, again, really nice for students to draw and give their appreciation to those who are keeping us safe in the world. So just wanted to note that. And with that, I am going to very excitedly turn everything over to Michael, who is going to present our well-deserving highlight of our operations department.
Thank you very much. If Glenn and Bill would join me. First off, I want to thank everybody who's here tonight because they start their days way early. They're here by 6:30 in the morning, some earlier, and to then be here 12 hours later and willing to come and share this honor, I think is great. It shows the commitment of our guys. Annually, the district is inspected by the Regional Office of Education to determine compliance with life safety, general safety rules and regulations. Each year, as Glenn can attest to, and Dr. Connolly, we are met with a commendable rating, highest marks in all categories by the inspector for the regional office. This is based on cleanliness of the buildings, compliance with those life safety codes and the rules and regulations. They go into the classroom spaces, check outside, and this year was no exception. These annual reports are no accident. As you see by the committed gentleman behind me, we have a hardworking staff that takes great pride in the district, in the buildings, and doing the work on behalf of the students and staff. In addition to these reports obtained from the regional office, The operations team also completes a ton of projects on behalf of the district that would otherwise cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete each year if we had to hire outside contractors. It would also take a lot more time as we went through the bidding process. We do flooring and painting and electrical and plumbing and carpentry work. There's the plowing, there's the safety concerns that they take care of by combing the grounds and looking for the things that could possibly cause problems. And just the fresh look of the aesthetics that we've had through our maintenance team and improving the grounds this year. I forgot how many buildings we did this year. At least four. We've got more on schedule for the spring and the fall. I know Arlen's been by Riley, anybody that's been by Longfellow in the last year, Cooper, Frost, you name it, we're starting to get through and really take the profile of the outside of the building up so it's a welcoming atmosphere. The value of having these highly skilled staff members, both in the maintenance and custodial ranks. Some of them are former business owners, supervisors. They've been trained through the trades. We have a highly skilled staff, and I know you all comment whenever we walk into buildings, and we get the same thing from parents and community members about how great they look. And so, without further ado, if we could give them a round of applause, and then Glenn's got a slideshow that he's going to go ahead and take us through. And before I go any further, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, that was my error, so.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you, Dr. Conley, Mr. Pritzker, board members, cabinet members, and my esteemed colleagues for having us and allowing us to speak today. Operations is defined by many things. Michael just went through a number of them, but we've got a department that's built of custodial and maintenance people that are second to none as far as I'm concerned throughout the state of Illinois. We perform beautification, cleaning, clearing, delivering, fixing up things throughout our day and year, and do it in a safe manner. Over the past little over a year, we've completed over 5,500 work orders. In doing so, if you look at the picture on the right, that was stuff that was COVID related, all items that we had pulled from schools, put in storage at the airport, then we had to pull it back out of the airport. We brought it here, had it in trailers for a while, and then we've distributed. It's well-traveled old furniture, is what I've got to say. But again, it's all back in its home for at least now. Our team does a number of different projects. Michael alluded to the fact that we paint. We paint probably about a school and a half every summer. And Bill Knapstein leads our team. And the skilled staff that he uses are students. We get students from families that are in our district or relatives of the people behind me, and Bill trains them, and they become well-crafted painters by the end of the summer and do a great job. We have plows that are ready to go. Obviously today we thought we might have a little snow to push. Fortunately, we're not going to, but our fleet's ready to go. Every day we're responsible for setting up cones for safety out in the parking lots. And we often will tag out equipment if we feel it's unsafe until we can get the proper equipment to repair it. I've got a lot of skilled craftsmen, and Michael alluded, I've got fellow business owners. Joe Rowan, he's our grounds and fleet truck maintenance mechanic. He performs a lot of work. I've got Manny and Boris, they're my electricians. I count on them for all our electrical needs in the district, helping me diagnose and solving problems. I got plumbers and carpenters, which are Al Rowe and Kevin Markowitz, that go around and do a lot of repairs and replacements in the district. I got 4 skilled HVAC people. Now, talk about an opportunity that can get me in trouble or hot water real quick is not have the right temperatures in the classrooms or in the offices. So Nick Jaworski, Didier Machado, Mario Barrios, and Scott Ludwig, are our key staff that provide ambient temperatures and make sure our boilers and our HVAC units are running properly. And not to think that we've added probably 50 new rooftop units, but just because you add new doesn't mean you still don't have to do preventive maintenance. I'm more responsible about making sure that I'm checking that new equipment so we don't do something wrong with it and lose our warranties on them. I've also got Rick TJ. He is responsible for our deliveries every day and make sure the mail goes through regardless of what it looks like outside. Again, it's really hard for me to mention everybody's name in today's presentation, but again, I'll do my best to kind of key in on certain things. Event setups. We probably set up over 250 events, this being one of them. And probably one of the people that's most responsible, and everybody hears his name and he gets a lot of accolades, is Jose Alvarado. He does a great job of setting things up. Of the 250, I think he did 249. Okay. Beautification. Again, Bill Weiss, the Assistant Director of Operations, and Adam Martinez have been working beautifying our district on our grounds. Adam Michael alluded, Adam used to run his own business. We've been fortunate to tap into those skills, and we've planted over 50 trees in the last 2 years throughout the district at many of our schools, and a number of bushes. I can't even tell you how many bushes they've planted, but Adam has a really good relationship with some of the vendors. And one of the neat things that I always like to brag on, when I go out to a place and buy a tree, we got to bring the tree home, dig a hole and put it in the ground. Adam's connections, bring the tree to us, dig the hole, put it in the ground, and we're set to go. So it really makes it at no additional price. So that's a big help. Anyway, I want you to stay tuned for more. We've done a bunch of work. We've got more planned, and it's going to continue. You know, every day, this is a real glamorous job, but it happens every day. We sweep, we scrub, we strip floors. This is Alex Garibay, Sergio Ortiz, Javier Alage, and Jose Alvarado cleaning and sweeping. You know, you wouldn't notice, but this is what the floors end up looking like when we're done. I mean, they are clean and shiny, and we make them look new. The two on the left are old floors, and the ones on the right are new. The nice thing about the new floors that we're putting in, the LVTs, they don't need scrubbing, they don't need stripping, they don't need waxing. They're gonna save a lot of labor down the road. This is the operations team, and I gotta be honest, I'm humbled and honored to be working with this group of team members. They're talented individuals. They pride themselves on doing the job right. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two women in our department, Lori Clausen and Barb Antonoff. They keep us level-headed in the back, organized, on our toes, and alert of any concerns that might be going on in the district. So I got a final note. If you are troubled by leaking pipes, if you have cold or hot rooms, or if you want a project completed, if the answer is yes, who are you going to call? Thank you.
And when Glenn says 5,500 work orders, that doesn't include if I stop him in the hall or Mike or any of the people up here to say, hey, we could really use this. So truly, I just wanted to recognize these guys and gals. They do a great job, and they do it with a smile every day. And we truly never have to ask twice for anything to get done. So thank you very much.
Michael, I just want to say that in my tenure, this has been one group, one part of our community that I don't believe we've ever highlighted the work. But I can tell you in the time that I've been here, every single fall, we've been able to remark on not just the typical routine type of things that your department has done, but the over and above, the actual construction type work. I can remember when Bud the Carpentry was the superintendent, and he'd have the guys taking down walls, putting up new walls, doing just about everything that we should have hired an outside contractor to do, and did it well, and did it so well. So most of this group here looks pretty young. So I don't know if you've just been here 5 or 10 years or 2 years or what, but you have a long time history and precedent to fulfill. And from everything that we've seen, you've done it so well. And I manage a group of 25 maintenance and janitorial crew in my day-to-day business. So I know the type of effort that you all put forth on behalf of this organization. And because you do it so well, there's no other way to do it but to say thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Sure. Yep.
So I'm gonna say one thing, because as I look at some faces out there and I look at some faces up here, my oldest is 27, my youngest is 22. They were all Field, London, now Buffalo Grove High School kids and on. But in addition to the wonderful impression that you made in our buildings, some of you had the opportunity over the years to make some pretty amazing impressions with some of our kids in the buildings. And some mentoring, some kindness from Mr. Olage at Field way back in the day, going on Camp Duncan trips, to, Ken Crothers greeting me at the door when I was exasperated and exhausted on my way to Mr. Gurney's office, to put his hand on my shoulders and tell me everything was going to be okay. So from me to you, thank you.
So there were two things that I did not see on your job description. One was heart, and the other was kids. There's only two of us who were here on the board 20 some odd years ago when, in cost cutting, the concept was raised that maybe we could save a lot of money if we outsourced our custodial maintenance team. And the board came, you remember that discussion? And the board came to that meeting and recognized the job that you do beyond what's in your job description. Caring for the kids, watching out for the kids, reporting things to principals that they need to know, watching out for our staff, heart and kids. And that's the part of your job description that's not mentioned anywhere. That's why we love you guys and ladies. That's why you're part of our family in a way that nobody else could ever be. Because we know the things you do way beyond your appointed job description that is important to District 21. My kids are in their 30s now. They all used to tell me stories about the teams that were at Riley and Kilmer and Cooper. So I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart as well. Thank you.
Now, I'm sure all of you wonderful members of our community and our organization don't really want to sit for the next hour, listen to us continue to pontificate. So you are free to make an exit if you would like to. Thank you again.
And thank you for coming.
Firsthand, the pro movie nights we used to have. Candy was 50 cents, and parents would send their kids in with $20.
And come home with no money, yes.
Come home with no money and no food in their stomach because they threw it all up. Never once did they complain.
No.
No. Amazing.
I did. I did a lot.
I remember the year Debbie and I did the wrestling regional tournament at London, and the only day it snowed was that morning.
Thank you, guys.
And those guys were out there at 4 o'clock to make sure everything, we were like having a heart attack. And they were like, TJ was like, it'll be fine, you're good. I'm like, TJ and Ken,
Okay.
yep.
We will continue on with our agenda, and the next item is board discussion. And Dr. Connolly, would you like to introduce the topic for tonight?
Certainly. So this is a follow-up to the discussion that we had in November on the consideration of a board resolution on the subject of safe and secure gun storage. As I noted last month, I did take the draft resolution and made some revisions to try and bring it more in line with what I believe the board's message would like to be. I did share that with the board to grab, to get any kind of comment prior to this evening, but I did want to make sure that we had the opportunity to, just if there are any questions, if there are any last minute alterations to the text, anything like that the board would like to pursue. And then based on that discussion, there is an action item later in your agenda to formally adopt this resolution or whatever altered resolution the board may make a determination around. So you do have a paper copy of the resolution text in front of you. And I'm open to answering any kind of questions or whatever kind of discussion the board wishes to have.
Okay, I'll start on my left, and we can go around with any reactions to what you have in front of you. Bill?
After my lengthy comments of last month, I'll keep it extremely short this time. And that is to say that the only concern I previously had was the requirement for parents to sign. That's been taken out. I think this perfectly encapsulates what we discussed at the last meeting, and I'm ready to vote in favor of it.
I'll just go down the line. Jessica?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Connolly, for the revisions that you made, and you and I spoke earlier this week about the concern of originally in the resolution with just including it in the handbook, and I was very pleased that you expanded that to our posting information on our website and social media. And as we discussed, the issue, I think the resolution is important, and I would certainly still support, especially with the revisions that were made. In addition to the resolution, I'd like us to take it one step further and have some discussion about, in the beginning of the school year, maybe a month or 6 weeks in, having a family engagement or community engagement presentation about this information and offer a live presentation to families so that they can have this information, have some safe space to discuss a lot of these issues, which are really sensitive. I'll keep it to a minimum for now. I'm sure I'll be bringing this up, as we move forward. But in sum, I'm very happy with the revisions that were made to the resolution, and I would encourage us to support it and sign it tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Stacy?
I was in favor of the information going out before. I'm in favor of this now, but I think to Jessica's point, I think some of these issues, it's good to start having some engagement and some discussion with the community. I think it's very easy sometimes to assume in a community like this that we all think the same way on stuff. And we all just sort of, and I sort of used my opportunity to get signatures this time around to really try and engage with people that I don't normally engage on and hear what topics are important to them. And I was interestingly surprised at the things that people wanted to talk about, is gauging where we are. And again, I think it's easy to assume everybody is on one side of an issue or another. And sometimes with education, we all are, but I think giving families some opportunity to have those discussions in a way where I'm not telling you how to feel about it. I'm trying to figure out how you feel about it, and so we can exchange and discuss. And so when it comes to these issues, especially gun violence and safe storage, I think it's our obligation to make sure people have good information, and I think it's our obligation to begin those conversations. So I'm in favor.
Okay. Deb?
Now, whereas last month I was very much in opposition to us doing this, just because I thought, especially with the signature page, we were overstepping our bounds. Now this is informative, and I can fully agree with this because of the changes that were made.
Thank you, Deb. Marlon?
It's the least we can do, considering the fact that guns are the #1 cause of death among young people in our country today. It's a national disgrace. It's a uniquely American problem. Nowhere else in the Western world do you have the number of young people dying from gunshots daily. So I support it fully. I think you made the right corrections to it, and I'm fully supportive of the resolution.
Thank you. Stacy?
Me too. No, I think the changes you made are the much more likely for people reading it to hear it. And I appreciate that.
I think well, obviously, we have a consensus on moving forward under new business towards the, as an action item. I would also add to that, just underscoring the fact that at least next fall and perhaps going forward, that we do have a public engagement process. Obviously, this is an educational thing that we're sharing. We're not mandating anything. We're not making people sign off. But with the amount of gun-related things that have happened in public schools and elsewhere, just throughout our national life, that it's the least that we can do.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that there are enormous opportunities and resources in our own backyards. Local law enforcement, there will not be a problem with being able to pull together the resources to do that kind of family education. And as it is, particularly Michael and Kim are working on a daily basis, just looking at all of our safety and security and security plans and all of those things. So they are in ongoing conversations with our local municipalities, and so we've got a lot of options there. So we will absolutely pursue that. So.
very good. Next item on the agenda is public comment for members of our public. Has anyone passed anything in, Letitia?
Nobody has submitted a comment card.
Okay, that's in person. Mike, do we have anybody virtually?
No, we don't.
Okay. We shall move on to the consent agenda. And does anybody need anything, or not need, but would desire to have anything pulled?
Yes, Phil, if you could pull item K, the approval of the first student amendment.
Okay. Are there any other items that would want to be pulled? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion for items A through J.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. No comments. Jessica, if you would.
Bill?
Me?
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion for item K. Oh, discussion.
Yes, please.
Discussion, this is approval of a first student amendment for 2022-23. Bill?
Yes, this is, there's not a single problem I have with the contract itself. I just simply wanted to highlight the work that our business department and administration have done to attempt to address some of the problems that we had at the beginning of the school year, knowing that there's been such a shortage of bus drivers to safely transport our students to school. And I think the community needs to know the hard work that's been going on to try to solve these problems as they've occurred. So simply pulled to highlight that purpose.
Okay. And Michael, the number of years involved in this is?
So this is just for the remainder of the 2022-23 school year.
Okay.
As noted in the recommendation, we are still below well below the average in the area for the year in this increase. It's not retroactive to the beginning of the year either, and they have made good on several of the tools for implementation to us being able to track the buses electronically. Turn-by-turn tablets were started this week for direction, which should make routes more efficient. So continuing a long partnership with First Student, this is in good faith to go ahead and get them back into a competitive stance.
Right, and I really wasn't questioning. I just wanted to make sure, since all of us were aware of the background, that those that are listening in and our public here tonight were aware. So, Chair, do we have that on record? We have a
I'll make a
motion?
motion to approve item K.
Second.
Thank you. Jessica?
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen? Stacy?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7 in our agenda, 2022 tax levy. Michael? And I think the first thing we need to do is
I will move that we recess into
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we recess the December 15th meeting until after the public hearing concerning the levy.
I have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Jessica?
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Michael, back to you.
So tonight we're here to talk about the final levy for 2022. Last month, we talked about the preliminary. Since that time, the dust has settled some. Tax bills went out first electronically on November 15th, or at least I should say were made available electronically November 15th. Were sent in the mail December 1st, and last week we got our first round of 2021 taxes, and we've gotten a couple installments since. So we are over the $5 million mark already. It feels like a telethon. Hopefully 2022 levy next December will not be like that. So part of a new law is that we're supposed to disclose fund balance as of the levy hearing. So I am pleased to report that our operating fund balance, which would be ed, O&M, transportation, the pension funds, working cash, and tort, are $90,749,159. That is an increase of almost $20 million from last year. Remember, part of that is our health insurance, the self-fund, which has about $5.7 million in it. Included in that fund balance is the new property tax recapture refund, which was about $1.5 million. So some of this is money that may be recurring. Some of it is money that may go away depending on what the lawsuit on the constitutionality of the recapture does. But that includes ESSER funds. So we had a very good year, but going forward, we're going to lose some of that funding, which is why capturing all the dollars in the levy is so important. So as we talked about last month, the levy is just the amount that we request to be extended for collection of property taxes. Once that extension goes out, those bills are made public, sent out to the taxpayers. The county puts on in Cook 3% for loss of cost, which is one of the reasons we have not ballooned higher, because we know that that cost comes, and why we've kept it at the lowest rate that we need to make sure we capture all our dollars. And then collection is the actual dollars that we collect from the taxpayers for the school district. We don't get everything we ask for every year. So in the cycle to get there, there's the assessment process, which was completed very late this year, which is why the bills went out later, because then the Board of Review got it. As we know publicly, there was some infighting based upon software and other internal factors between those two agencies. They applied the equalization number, which is for each county. And then we get to the levy itself, which we went ahead and presented last month. And then because we're at 5% or higher, we do a truth in taxation hearing. That notice went into the paper last week. So we are well ahead of the 7 days and less than the 14. So that is how we got here today. And this, if approved, will need to be filed by the last Tuesday in December. We will file it before then. So, and then hopefully the extension goes out, like I said, in a timely fashion. In looking at PTEL, this is the law that was created back in the mid-90s, which kept us at 5% or CPI, whichever was greater. And as you know, this is the first year that CPI was greater than 5 during the existence of this act. So this is new territory for everybody. Because of this, we could have gone higher to make sure we captured new property. The example I gave was 6.5%. At 6.5%, we would have captured up to $89 million in new property. That would be about 6 times, 7 times the amount that we did in our best year, other than the year that the TIF rolled off. That would still be 4 times as much as when the TIF rolled off. So we stayed at 5%, which gets us up to $60 million. And in talking with the villages, talking with the assessor, we know that that's not a number that will come close to, but just in case, we did it. So, because the 5% is what we need to do just to capture that maximum CPI that we're entitled to this year. We went through the CPI last month as far as the history. As you can see in that graph, we only came close one other time to this number. It was 2009. And so at this point, I'm sorry, 2010, no, 2009, we had the crash in 2010. And so we've been steadily kind of going up and down. We know that for sure, there is no doubt at this point that next year will be 5% as well, based upon where we are in the economy. So we'll be doing this again next year for the second time in a row. I would think we shouldn't get used to it though. So just the facts that we had last month, based upon 2020, a 2.3% increase meant about $2 million in just the increase on the base levy. We also got some additional dollars based upon the increase in EAV, new property. And that was the year that the TIF rolled off, which is why we had such a large increase based on new property. 2021, last year's levy was only 1.4%. So to go from 1.4, because it's in arrears, to 7% is pretty remarkable. I included this slide because I think it's good. We had a discussion last month about should we ever think of taking less to either utilizing the new law passed by Representative Walker or just levying less and not trying to recapture later. I think it's telling that as it shows, the orange line reveals, which is the upward line, the cost of $1 in 2012 now costs $1.29 or 29% more. The gray line, the downward line, represents the dollar in 2022 will buy 78% of something purchased in 2012. So if we look at that, this tells why at this point in time, it's almost dangerous not to take the full amount. We can abate taxes later, we can give refunds, but at this point in time, when we're seeing that our buying power is far less, when we're seeing that there is delays that cause us to get increased prices, that there's just not the production or the service, I just wanted to go ahead and show, I had seen this slide and I thought it was really telling and I thought it was something good to add to the presentation, so. And then looking at this year's levy, again, going for $101,127,012, that does not include our debt service. Our debt service will partially be dictated by our supplemental levy, but also by what is owed from the referendum bonds and other borrowings that we've done. Remember, those do not include the debt certificates. Those were pledged by fund balance, so those are not impacting anybody's tax dollars. The instruments that finance the building were pledged off of current reserves, and it is not increasing taxes. I think that's a very important point to make because we're doing something that will be very beneficial to the community without making them pay for it in increased taxes. So as you can see, based upon our fund balances, this amount of money will go ahead, make us healthy for the year. We'll be able to pay our bills. We're doing some really exciting things, and only because we have such a strong financial situation in the district. And these dollars allow us to keep growing the education program and making it better. So last month we did the tentative hearing. You guys passed the resolution to do the truth in taxation hearing to post the levy. The levy notice was published in the paper. Tonight's the hearing, and then in new business, we'll go ahead and approve the levy, and we will file it prior to December 27th. So any questions?
Okay, first, do we have any members of the public that have questions on the tax levy? Mike, is there anybody online?
No, there's not.
Okay, nobody here. Board members, are there any questions for Michael?
No, I would just say it's a delight to hear the good financial news that we have today. Remembering years ago when this was not such a pleasant meeting, Phil, you remember. And we've come a long way, both us and North Cook, which is now on sound footing today. So I appreciate the hard work of everybody in the finance department and from the top down that we've been able to get to this point over the last 7 years, 8 years.
Okay,
I appreciate that, and I will say the vision of everybody at this table and Dr. Connolly is what really makes us look for every dollar and why we go out to do the things we can for kids. And the team that we have truly is one that you want to get up for and work towards positive things so that they can help students at the highest level. So thank you for giving us that freedom.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Jessica?
Stacy Allen,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Phil,
Aye.
Arlen,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
I vote yes, motion carries.
So we have the supplemental to approve at this point, or is that?
Yeah, when I put it on the agenda, it may have been late and I may have flipped them, but that's okay because we're going to approve a levy, so we'll approve the supplemental first.
Okay, so that means we need a motion at this point. Folks?
Be it
So moved.
resolved, the Board of Education
Thank you.
approve the supplemental debt service levy resolution to authorize the Cook County Clerk to adjust bond levies in accordance with the presented resolution.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. Jessica?
We're doing the supplemental tax levy first.
That's item A, yeah.
Okay. Debbie,
Yes.
Phil,
Aye.
Arlen,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. Thank you.
I got the next three, so.
Oh, we now move into new business. This is the Michael Show. Is this correct? Okay, first item under new business is the summer 2023 construction bids.
No.
No, where are you?
Under new business.
Business, Phil.
We just did the supplemental levy. That's A,
New business
Ah.
A.
then
Okay.
B.
I stand, or I sit corrected. Thank you. Moving on.
Keeping us on our toes, Phil.
I will move the approval of the 2022 tax levy.
Second.
Seeing no questions, please, Jessica.
Phil,
Aye.
Phil,
I paused and I didn't hear him.
Arlen,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen,
Yes,
Debbie.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
no problem.
Now, move right ahead.
All right. So we are really pleased tonight to bring forward a long list of work to be done next summer. When I got here in 2019, we did a little over $35 million in work. The next year was a low year for us. I think we were at about 8 million. The next couple of years have been in the 10 to 12. Next year, we will be doing approximately $16 million worth of work. That's just the bids. That includes 4 more libraries. That includes the finishing the HVAC at London with approximately 34 new unit vents. It's doing lighting or lighting at Field Frost and Kilmer, who are also getting libraries with London, new STEM rooms at those elementaries. We're finishing Tarkington the second half with lighting, flooring, bathrooms for students. We are also doing at Hawthorne, finishing up the first floor with some retrofitted hallway spaces to get into compliance with code, give students more room. The second floor will be the housing of the Equity and Learning and Support Services administrative team, which, as you recall, a year ago, it seems like 2 years ago, a year ago, when we approved going forward with the Admin and Community Service Center, we vowed that the second floor of Hawthorne to move there because the total cost it would have taken to renovate this building would be no more than $2 million. Those bids, we did it as an alternate so that we could demonstrate that to the community, came in at $1.25 million. So we're ahead of schedule even on those types of items. And then we are going to do, it's not included in this round, 2 playgrounds next summer. We met with the playground designers and architects last week. That'll be Field and Riley. Riley for obviously the special needs component there. We need to get a playground that is totally accessible. We're working on accessibility at Field so that the community has accessible playgrounds. And then a couple of things we'll be able to start by approval tonight. There's some electrical work that needs to be done at London. It was found by one of our contractors in a space that wasn't used, but could have been a pretty serious circumstance. So they're going to rectify that issue over break. We're going to get 20, right, Glenn? 20 of the 35 bottle fillers installed over winter break. That'll bring the total up in the district just after break over 50. And then we have 15 more that we'll do over the summer. And then we have bottle fillers, playground. There was one other thing we're doing. Oh, painting. We're doing the painting on the gyms that had not been painted when the floors and lights were redone. So we'll have 4 gyms that are now all finished. In addition, the costs that you see for the construction management, those are not all hard costs. There's $500,000 in reimbursables. We have not spent even half the reimbursables in most of the years with Nicholas. And then there are 6 construction superintendents on there. I will tell you, given the amount of work, I think we will use all 6, but they are looking at a way to see if they can save 1 or 2. Those come at a cost of about $59,000 a piece. So if we can save, that will go down too. And then, and an item not on the agenda, but part of it, I have, with Archon, been going and talking to them about the fee structure. And this year, they agreed to forego a standard fee that they have that'll save $137,000 for the district. So again, the partnerships that we've built, mostly because you all started with Archon, and we've continued to go forward, have really been beneficial. The initial estimate for this amount of work with fees together was over $25 million, and we kept fine-tuning designs to make sure that we got to a place that we had the money in the bank to go ahead next year, finish the last 4 libraries, and the lighting, hopefully, that we have left, as well as the 21st century furniture. So I am happy to request approval of the bids and the construction management fee as presented.
Nice.
Question.
I have a motion.
Well, can I ask a question, or you want
After
to
we
motion first?
Let's get it on the table.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Questions?
Michael, a long time ago, when you first raised the accessibility playground at Riley, I briefly talked with the Arlington Park District about it, and they were interested in talking with us. I'm wondering if you've reached out to them about participating with us on that.
So we reached out to them, we've reached out to Wheeling, we've reached out to Buffalo Grove for all parts of the projects this summer. We've also reached out to NSSEO about contributing, since they have the deaf and hard of hearing program there as well. So we are seeking additional contributions.
Okay.
And Archon is helping us look at if there are any grants available for the playgrounds.
Okay. And then where does it leave where does this summer leave us in terms of redoing all the lighting? The lighting changes are amazing in the buildings that have been done.
After this summer, we will have 4 buildings left. We will have, and only parts of a couple. Cooper and Holmes have portions left. And then obviously Whitman, Longfellow have had their front offices and kindergarten rooms done based upon the early referendum work. So there's about 80% there. Same with Poe. So those are the only schools left, and Holmes is about 25% left. Cooper's about 50. We met today with a performance contractor about the potential of doing those during the school year, since we'll be replacing lights with lights and doing it potentially second shift, so that we can try and start moving some of this along sooner. Because once we get through next summer's libraries, we're really at playgrounds and bathrooms, and then preventative maintenance. And those are 2 things we need more than anything. And parking lots would be along with there in some capacity, but playgrounds and bathrooms would be the 2 highest priorities. When we get through next summer, we will truly be able to start focusing on doing a lot of those each year, or multiple schools each year. But it's getting through that referendum spend next year and getting the 21st century furniture done, so.
It's great.
And then outdoor lighting too, so.
Yes, we've talked.
I'm still trying to find a plan that I like for everywhere, so.
We'll
You are
look forward to it.
Anybody else? No?
Arlen,
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy,
Yes.
Bill,
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Phil,
Aye.
motion carries.
Am I correct in assuming that the Wheeling Township Treasury is next on our agenda?
Yes.
Thank you. Michael?
Take that for
alphabet
1,000.
works, man. A, B, C, D. It's amazing.
So traditionally in Cook County, there have been the Township Treasurer of School Trustees organizations that are elected bodies and have a treasurer. Years ago, I think it's about 25 years ago now, Wheeling withdrew from the treasurer. And there's two ways. You could either withdraw by legislation or by election. You put it on the ballot and it gets voted. After that occurred, the feeder districts to 214 that were in the treasurer at the time, so that would be 21, 23, 25, 26, and NSSEO along with 214, combined into a intergovernmental agreement to provide treasury services, which, unlike the township treasurer who would cut your checks, they would run your payroll, they would make investments, they had all sorts of responsibilities. 214 organization was designed to house investments, pool them together for better rates based upon the dollars, and then to collect the dollars that we get. In doing so, there's one bank account amongst all of those districts in order to get your ability to reconcile on a monthly basis, and in order to go ahead and plan to invest to do the things that we want to do more of. It takes a little bit of time for them to pull that apart because it's 5 entities, hundreds of $millions a year. And so we just are looking at the ability to do this a little more efficiently, do it a lot more effectively, and have local control of our dollars. Because we'll get a bank statement at the end of the month and be able to reconcile within a couple of days, which will allow us to be much more transparent in reporting to the board, to the public, to be able to plan for projects. We'll be able to make our own investment decisions with the help of our financial advisor by doing that on short-term, long-term basis, cash liquidity, so that we can prepare for ups and downs in the cycle of finances, as opposed to now where we go through the treasurer organization that meets 4 times a year. We have the staff to do this. We have a very, very capable staff who's eager to take this on. And I think that this will be a benefit to the district. One of the questions that we talked about at the Finance Committee a couple months ago was, will there be a requirement for any new staff? I've met with our financial advisors, our auditors, some banking consultants. We honestly believe that there will be no increase for staff. Our auditor said if there was anything that you would do, it might be a half-time position just to keep some checks and balances, but we have a large department that has people that do accounts receivable, accounts payable. We have an accountant, we have a director of business services. So I'm confident that we can do this without that. And we won't lose a lot of our buying power because we are the second largest organization in the treasurer's office, only second to 214. So I'm confident that this will make us a much more effective business office by withdrawing. The notice requirement is 90 days. The reason we want to do it now is because taxes are starting to come out. And we don't want those taxes pooled in other investments that make the unwinding process difficult. So in talking with the financial advisors, if we give the notice now, they'll be able to keep our investments, our dollars from being commingled. And that'll make the unwinding process a lot easier so that we don't have to worry about cash on hand or liquidity, and that also the groups that remain in the treasurer's organization will not have to worry about that either. So I welcome any questions, and I do recommend that we approve this tonight.
Yeah, this was a necessary thing many years ago when we had to do it. There was very little notice, and 214 stepped up in order to do this for its feeder district. So, but we're, as Michael said, we're of a size that it shouldn't be much of any effort at all for us to duplicate what 214 has done for us, but instead make it more efficient since we're just dealing with our own. Bill, did you have a question or comment?
A couple questions. You mentioned that the combining of all the district funds allowed for a better return on the investments. Are we forecasting to see perhaps a little less return on our funds because we'll be separating out?
No, I don't think that we lower our pool classification that much because, like I said, we are the second largest investor in that. And when you get past 214, us, and then 25, the rest of the districts, we're talking about budgets of $25 to $30 million versus us who have a budget of 130 million. We have, fund balance of over 90, as we talked about earlier. So we're confident in talking with PMA that we will not impact our rate of return at a level that would be negative.
Are other school districts doing similar things? I mean, not necessarily, 23, 26, but are other districts doing their own treasury work?
So outside of Cook County, everybody does their own treasury work. There are no township treasurers. And then even in Cook County, Mount Prospect for years has been doing their own. A number of other districts in places where they disbanded the township treasurer had to do it on their own immediately because, like Phil said, 214 stepped up to really kind of save the day at that point because nobody was ready to do it because it happened so quickly. Whereas now it's commonplace for districts to be doing their own investing. And again, investing through financial advisors. I'm not going to be picking the stocks for us. So.
Oh, well, that would have been fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
And you feel comfortable with the checks and balances that we have in our system?
I do, and I will tell you, one of the benefits of Baker Tilly has been every year we revisit what's going on in our system. And Nick Cavalier and I, our head auditor, have talked about sitting down to really tighten up even more, just to make sure that we know we're ready, but to put those processes in place so that everybody knows their role specifically, because it will be different. We'll initiate wire transfers, we'll initiate, different ACH payments. And right now, what we do is we prepare the documents and send them to 214. And now we'll just be taking that one extra step. And in talking with the people at BMO and other banking consultants, as well as our financial advisors, they said we're talking about probably an hour or two more a month. So in that realm of it. So, and we already reconcile, but now we don't have to reconcile both to what our books say and what 214 says. And sometimes there's conflict, and that's because they're pulling apart 5 organizations to try and figure out everybody's bank statement. So yeah, I'm confident that we're in a good place on this and that we have the right checks and balances.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah, actually, Bill asked a bunch of the questions that I had, but number one, you see no downsides for us.
I really don't. Yeah, I guess if there was a downside, it's yes, we lose the security of being in a group, but it's all our own money. So it's not like if we get in trouble that we get to take from 25 or from 214. So in the end, it was a lot of independent organizations that pooled together for investment. So in totality, I do not see a downside.
And so there's no additional, you don't see additional cost to us, which is frankly my fear that it's a fairly significant undertaking.
Yeah, the banking fees are shared right now to a certain extent. 214 covers the cost of the staff that they have. And that staff has had turnover the last few years, which has caused some growing pains and some of the slowdown. I don't see us, banking fees are negotiated. And so I don't see us having any higher fees than we do now. And I really think as far as costs, the staff time will be the same. I don't envision hiring any new staff. And I really don't think, like I said, it was cautionary to say, if you needed anything, you could say a half person might be good for an additional check or balance. But I think with the process we have in place, we don't need any additional staff.
Okay. So my request would be kind of touch on something that Bill talked about is down the road a bit, for you to come back to us with kind of a dog and pony show on what our checks and balances will be, given the magnitude of what we're undertaking.
That's no problem at all.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there?
I was gonna say.
Okay, well, let's get it off the table. Let's do it. Jessica?
I don't have a motion recorded.
Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the withdrawal of CCSD21 from Wheeling Township Treasury Intergovernmental Agreement as of the end of business June 30th, 2023.
Second. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Stacy Getz?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. Michael,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. The next item is approval of the board resolution on the secure gun storage. As this is the revised presentation that Dr. Conley had supplied to all of us.
I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the attached resolution of the Board of Education on safe and secure storage of firearms, notification, and information.
Second.
All right, is not any further conversation about it? Jessica, please.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye,
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Next item is relocation of our January through June 2023 Board of Education meetings. Dr. Connolly, did you want to share why we need to do this?
So as the board knows, this will be the final board meeting in this room. And for our January board meeting, we will be occupying your new boardroom on the third floor of the Community Service Center. And so we just need to make sure that that is posted and advertised, as it will be a new location. 959 West Dundee Road, as opposed to 999 West Dundee Road, which is where we are now. So
Okay,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you, everybody. Jessica?
I happily vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen?
Unbelievably, yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Bill?
I'm going to miss this place. Aye.
Motion carries.
We have one more rescheduling of the February 2023 Board of Education meeting. And that is from February 16th to the 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
And we will be publishing a notice, obviously, to that effect. If there's any questions, Jessica?
Okay. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Motion carries.
Very good. The January meeting is January 19th, also at 7 o'clock, right? You're looking at me, okay. January 19th, 2023, at 7 o'clock in our new building and new boardroom. At this point, we now need to, oh geez. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves to recess the CCSD21 December 15th, 2022 rescheduled regular board meeting and convene in closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity.
Second.
Jessica?
Debbie?
Yes.
Phil?
Aye.
Arlen?
Aye.
Stacy?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote yes. Stacy Allen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are not expecting to come out of closed session with any action items, so this will be the end of our public meeting this evening. Thank you all very much. Happy holidays. We'll see you next year.